Welcome, welcome. Today I have the honor and the privilege of interviewing one of my students, Katrina Bigler, on her Lashpreneur journey, on how she went from lash artist to owning a lash business part-time and then moving into
today I have the honor and the privilege of interviewing one of my...
Is that you or me? There we go. So let's dive in with Kat. Kat, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit about how you got into being a lash artist?
Okay, sure. I'm Katrina Bigler, Lash Artistry by Kat. How I originally got into lashes was I saw it at a women's expo and just immediately fell in love and started researching. And at the time, this was actually like 10 years ago, there were companies that would train just anybody. But when I started looking at the national companies, they would only train those with a esthetician or cosmetology license. Okay. So that's what got me interested in going into school. So that's what I eventually ended up doing, was going to cosmetology school, and I fell in love with hair. But as soon as I took that first lash class, I was hooked.
Right, you're like, and here we go. I fell in love. You were bit by the lash bug, as they say. So talk about where the idea for you going into business for yourself came from, because you're in Utah, right? And as most of us know, Utah is heavily saturated with a lot of lash artists. So kind of talk about your journey in being the lash mecca.
Big time saturated. But at the same time, there's so many clients. I feel like there's enough clients for everyone. There's, 3 lash artists just in my neighborhood alone. And of course, I have my days where I feel the competition, but most days I kind of remind myself that the only real competition is myself.
Did you always feel that way?
No.
Right. There's been some work we've done. Okay, so talk about that. Talk about what it was like when you were in that place of scarcity, competition, saturated market. What kind of responses were you having and how you ran your business?
So how I kind of ran my business was I was always looking for the next service to add to my business, to try to put me over the top. I was always trying to discount my services just to get people in the door. Mm-hmm. I guess I didn't really respect my business. It was like a cheap chop shop, if you will. I was just doing anything I could to get people in the door. And the quality of clients that I attracted at that time, of course, I'm sure you realize that it wasn't sustainable.
Right. I think that's a key part is, while on our end, we come from a scarcity mentality of, I just have to get people in the door. It's not just enough to get people in the door, though. How are you going to create longevity in your business and long-term in your business when you have deal seekers who are only loyal to the deal and not to you? So I think that's a huge aha that you probably went through, is like, they're not even loyal to me. Like, they just want me to be cheap. And if I'm not going to be cheap, well, either I'm going to have to work more hours in the day, or I'm going to have to raise my prices and figure out how to get a different type of clientele. So what was kind of the catalyst for you joining the Lashpreneur Society?
I realized that I wasn't running a business. It was kind of a hobby that I wanted to be a business, but I had no idea how to actually run a business.
Love that. So what do you mean it was a hobby? Like, give me an example of what hobby behavior was.
In that I didn't have any policies. I was willing to let people talk me down. I had a client contact me, I see that you charge this, but would you be willing to do it for this? And I would start negotiating with them. I was letting people kind of make their own appointment times of whenever they wanted to come, I would make myself available.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
So what did that mean for you as, Katrina, not just lash artist business owner? What did that mean for Katrina when you were just bending over backwards for anybody who would pay you whatever they were willing to pay you?
I felt like I was so scattered everywhere that I couldn't focus on my business. I couldn't focus on my family. I was just, constantly trying to do everything and at all the time. And it just wasn't working. I was burning out very quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what do you think would have happened had you stayed on that path? If you had just kept on this kind of hobby mentality or this employee mentality of, you know, more hours in a day working? I mean, if you wanted to make more money, what was the future of your business at that point?
I don't think it would have been sustainable. I think I would have totally burned out because I was trying so hard to be everything to everybody, and it just wasn't working.
So you joined the society. It's been over a year now, right?
It's been, I'm going to say I started following you almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute. She was back in when it was before what it is now, where my trainings were kind of all haphazard, and now they're very organized and structured. She's actually one of our moderators in the group because she has had such a presence in mentoring and being there for our community members. So Kat is definitely one of the people that you'll get to know inside of our community. So when you join the Lashpreneur Society and kind of starting to go through the coaching sessions and just learning about different aspects of business, what was some kind of aha moments for you that changed how you ran your business?
I think having you critique my website was huge. Because you brought up so many things just in my phrasing and focusing on the positive and not the negative, and just the little things that you brought up at that time, and you didn't pull any punches, and I really appreciated that because I didn't want somebody that was going to tell me something I wanted to hear. I wanted somebody that would tell me what I needed to hear, and you did that for me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been an interesting evolution for me as a coach because I see things right away and I instantly want to solve the problem. I don't want to deal with fluff. I know not everybody responds the best that way. So it's taken me kind of feeling out people. And I know that you're a tough love kind of gal and you've actually responded really well. It's not that I'm getting aggressive or mean. It's just, let's cut through the BS, right? Like you don't need anybody to hold your hand. You've got entire free forums of people who are willing to tell you you're right. But if I see a way that you are getting in your own way or that you can grow, like I'm going to call you out on it and in a loving way so that you can grow and learn the lesson that you need to learn. So thank you for acknowledging that because I know for me, sometimes it's like, am I getting a little too tough on this person? But it all comes from a great place. So tell me about, let's talk about the Lashpreneur Society as it is now, because it has changed a lot over the past 7 or 8 months. So kind of tell me how you've seen the community change, the dynamic change, the trainings change, and how you've seen this society kind of impact our industry, because I know you kind of see it too, just the differences between like a lash artist lounge between this community.
Yeah, I feel like in this community, we're much more business oriented and less technical oriented, which is what a lot of people need. There's a bazillion groups out there that you want to learn technical aspects. Yeah. We do cover that, of course, but I love that it's so positive and that everybody lifts each other up and builds each other up. And if you ever have a question, everyone jumps in and is willing to help. That's one of my favorite things. And as far as the trainings, I feel like since it became the Lashpreneur Society and the new website, it's much more streamlined. You can find exactly the information that you need very quickly. And I've gone through the whole training myself, and I'm constantly learning. There's a couple of modules that I'm constantly going back and rewatching because there's just no way you can get all of the information by watching it just one time. Especially that mindset stuff, because that, I mean, new level, new devil, we talk about that. Like, once you get to being fully booked or close to it, like you have a whole new set of challenges and problems. It's not like smooth sailing. I mean, being a business owner, it's like personal development on crack because you're constantly learning and evolving and growing. And I think, you talked about what we're now terming the Lashpreneur Mastery Series. We called them mini trainings in the past, but we've renamed them. So you took the caption writing one that we did this past month. So talk about that. Which these Lashpreneur Mastery Series are very bite-sized, very actionable to teach you one aspect, because our Success Path covers a lot. That's our course format. But these mini trainings or these Mastery Series trainings are just very actionable. Do right now, master it in 15, 20 minutes. So talk about the caption writing for your lash photos Mastery Series training we did this month. Okay, so that one I so needed because, as you know, that's always been a struggle for me, just writing those captions. Taking the photos, I can do that. Editing the photos, I can do that. But getting beyond the technical writing, right? Like 2.15, 8 through 12 millimeter. That's what we talk about as technical writing. That's always been a struggle of mine. And so I loved that training. It was seriously one of my favorite trainings so far because it was so, the way that you taught it, it made it so easy. And I actually downloaded the PDF onto my laptop, and so that I could fill out the little blanks. And
Yep.
I came up with several quotes and stories for each photo, and I found that very easy to follow those prompts.
Yeah, and we also did 25 caption starters. So that's basically an entire month's worth of posts that we've given you like a caption starter to start with. So thank you for that feedback, because I know you said how much you loved it, but I hadn't heard like just why you loved it. So that helps me reformat as we go forward. And then one thing that's popping up in our experience that I remember you talking about was the dentist comparison of a saturated market. Do you want to talk about what you saw with the dentist and kind of your mindset and perspective shift with that?
Yeah, and so we always talk about how we're all in oversaturated markets, and that's been a huge complaint that I've seen. And then my daughter needed to have her wisdom teeth out, and so I did a quick search, and this is just on my insurance page, which, you know, not every dentist is listed, but just within a few miles radius of me, and I'm kind of in a suburban area, so this surprised me. There was over 350 dentists to choose from just to get her wisdom teeth pulled. And, you know, and if you call any of them, are they going to give you a deal? No. Are they going to apologize for their pricing? No. So
you really don't want to go to the dentist who gives you the deal. I don't know. With wisdom teeth out for $100, or you call it your pricing.
Right? Are you gonna trust the guy that's gonna do it for $100 when everybody else is doing it for $1,000? I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe not.
Especially
I love that. Yeah, and so what was so this is a great perspective shift, not only as a business owner, but even as a consumer, that if your clients are looking for a lash artist and trying to distinguish what the difference is between 300 lash artists in a 5-mile radius, how do you as the business owner stand out? And that's what we talk about a lot with your marketing, is that we're not all in competition for the same type of clients. We get very clear on who your individual client, your most favorite client, your MFC is, and then we build a marketing plan around her. What makes you unique? We go through an entire what's called a blue ocean strategy, where we teach you, look at your direct competition and you plot the points of where you're different from them, because we are different. We all have different services, skill sets, knowledge bases, priorities, all of that jazz. So we go into that inside of the build module pretty heavily. So I think that's a great, I love that you thought about that, because to me, that's like a true entrepreneur who is looking at other businesses and the outside world outside of our little lash room about how other businesses are run, how they market themselves, who their ideal type of client is. Like somebody who is trying to market to those getting their wisdom teeth out is not marketing to the 17 and 18-year-olds who need it. They're marketing to the parents. They're likely not trying to target people who are in their 60s and 70s, So it's interesting to take that perspective shift of looking at other businesses, especially successful ones. I used to joke all the time, like, what would Starbucks do in this situation? If you have a client who's unhappy, who wants a refund, what would Starbucks do in this situation? Are they going to let you leave and then come back and pay later for your drink? I see that a lot of times, like, oh, my client couldn't pay, so she said she'd come back later and pay. No, that's called robbing you. Anyways, so go ahead and tell me about what your plans are now with your business and kind of what you see for the future.
So with my business, I'm at the point now where I'm doing less marketing to clients. I'm still doing that because we talked about that. I turned it off for a while and it hurt my business. So
yeah, we don't have to stop marketing fully.
No, always market. But I've actually turned a few clients away recently, simply because I didn't feel like I could give them the look that they were looking for. And that's something that in years past I never would have done. But I have found that for me, a lot, because there is such a huge saturated market, a lot of the girls, and I do say girls in my area because they're a lot younger than I am. I'm a grandma. But they tend to market to more of the Instagram stars type people. The young moms, the college students. And so I market to more of the professional woman. And I have found that seems to be a successful niche in my area because so many people are marketing to the younger people. And, you know, and a lot of people think when they think of older women, you know, 45 to 50, that they're going to want the more natural sets. In fact, I read that on a post the other day that they were saying that if you're marketing to that area, you're marketing more natural sets, you would be surprised. I am doing more mega volume on that, on that demographic than anything, because they're wanting to recapture that youth. They're wanting that va-va-voom, that when they walk in the room, that their eyes draw the attention immediately. The
rest of their face has lost vitality, but their eyes sparkle.
Exactly. And so that I have found has become my niche.
Yes.
And in fact, I had a client yesterday that was talking to me, and she said, well, have you heard about this lash lift thing? And I gave it some thought, and I realized all my lash lift clients are actually the college students that don't have time to maintain lashes, but they still want to do something. And so I realized, without even thinking about it, has become another niche in my marketing, is I've been marketing to college students, and that I've been successful with that.
So what I want to point out here with Kat is that she has so much clarity. Like like you said, you just kind of took the realization that this service actually serves a different demographic, if you will, for XYZ reasons. Either they can't afford regular maintenance or they don't have the time for it. And so she didn't always start off this way, you guys. It really has been an evolution of Kat just taking different perspectives and letting that perspective marinate for her to fit her business best. And I can tell you that Kat has no apologies, no reason to feel bad about turning down a client. She knows that she can create demand when she needs to. She knows who she's targeting. It has to be a good fit for not only the client and what Kat provides and her specialty, but also the good fit for Kat so that she does find fulfillment in her job. Now, one last thing we'll touch on is talk about your MFC and how you kind of chose her and why you love her so much.
Okay, you'll actually find this kind of funny, but my MFC recently quit getting lashes, which kind of was a shock for me. But she actually got a second job just so that she could keep maintaining her lashes, and it was burning her out. And she apologized for having to cut that out of her life. And I said, you know what? Do what you got to do. You know, don't worry about me. I'll take care of myself.
That's why we don't stop marketing. But
exactly.
Your MFC, you loved her because she was... Kind of go through the reasons of why you chose her, because I remember having this conversation.
Yeah, because she was consistent. She, if she had to reschedule, she always gave me plenty of notice. She never no-showed me. She was always very, very appreciative of her lashes. And I got to the point where I just looked forward to her appointments because I knew that it was going to be beneficial for both of us, and that she would be satisfied with her service and I would be happy with the results, and I felt appreciated. And that was the main thing, is I felt appreciated for my work.
Yeah. And so when we go through clarifying who your MFC is, yes, it's nice when clients tip well. Yes, it's nice when they're consistent. But there's also this common bond that you kind of come up with a client, not in like a relational way where you're like best friends with them, although that may happen. But it's more, like that mutual respect. Like, I'm going to show up as a business owner and an artist to give you the best lashes possible. If you do your part, like we have this kind of teamwork aspect to it. I know for me, my MFC, Sonia, she was the same way. Like, she was very low maintenance in who she was with me, even though she was an event planner and always had amazing, always wanted to look polished and perfect. She was every 2.5 weeks because she wanted fullness, she wanted density, but she didn't want length. She always tipped very well. She always pre-booked several appointments out. So her behaviors as a client were fantastic, but just her as a human, like, I just never had any concerns that, she didn't have both of our best interests in mind, even when it was having conversations with her about her personal life or about my personal life. Like, it was very much just kind of this mutual respect. So I'm glad you touched on that, because I think that's hugely important, because when you have clients that don't respect your time, oh my God, do they make life miserable.
Oh yeah.
Like, you dread seeing them, and we want to avoid getting as many of those as possible. Now, when you're just starting out in your business, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad, but as we grow our business, as we are intentional about our marketing, we are trying to get those types of clients in, and not just anybody with a pair of eyes. So Kat, tell people where they can either find out more about you or kind of see what your website looks like now that it's all certified.
Sure. My website is www.lashartistrybykat.com.
K-A-T.
Yep, with a K. And that's also my social media handle is Lash Artistry by Kat with a K.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me. If you guys are interested in learning more about the Lashpreneur Society, we do have the doors open right now. We do close them again on Monday. So you definitely want to join now so you can get Kat and I inside of the society, and you can have your own Lashpreneur light bulbs or aha moments through our trainings and our programs. You can learn more about it at lashpreneur.com/society. And Kat, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the group.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Have a good one.
You too.